Is this what I think it is? This can only be one thing. This can only be a long overdue flight video. What's up, guys, and welcome to the channel. And today I bring you a very special video. It's Prepared 3D version 4 and its most up-to-date version. I believe it's 4.1 at the time of this video. Default scenery versus ORBX scenery. So I really hope you guys enjoy this video, and let's get right into it. Alright, so let's talk about what we see right now. Currently on Texaway Golf, I hope I pronounced this right, at Kenai Municipal Airport in southern Alaska. Airport identifier is Papa Alpha Echo November. This is ORBX scenery, and I'm going to call it the highest layer you can get, and I'll explain what that means later on here in the video. We are currently in the Coronado Cessna C208B Grand Caravan. This is the G1000 model, the HD series, and I do also have synthetic vision for their G1000 line installed, but this video isn't about that. So back to what the video is about: ORBX versus default scenery. So while I was testing frame rates and stuff, I did this with an F-22 jet. This is max level ORBX scenery, and I'll explain again what I mean by max level ORBX scenery as the video progresses and the layers term I mentioned earlier. But I thought I'd use this clip to kind of explain the video a little bit, what the goal is behind it. First, I'd like to thank you guys for watching the video. If you enjoyed the upcoming content, please like and subscribe to the channel. That support actually helps me out the most. Leave any feedback in the comments section below. If you think I need to know about it, please let me know. I enjoy reading the comments you guys leave. With that being said, the goal of this video is really to show how ORBX can transform your flight sim scenery. Can really turn it from something bland to something that's not at all bland. In fact, it's the exact opposite of that, as you can see in this little F-22 clip here. I also wanted to take just a moment in the beginning of this video to mention a new series that I'm going to have coming to my YouTube channel called Bush Planing It. I'm going to leave most of that series a surprise until the first episode, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I know it's going to be a lot of fun for me to record that series. I hope it's going to be a lot of fun for you guys to watch it, and I look forward to hearing your feedback about that series once the first episode drops here soon. So what do I mean by ORBX layers? So basically, ORBX has products that work globally, and then they have products that are essentially continental, and then they have products that are regions within those continents. So for example, I've got the global ORBX, and then I've got North American dedicated ORBX, and then I've got Alaskan dedicated ORBX. So that's kind of what I mean by those layers there. Let's go ahead and hop back in the Coronado Grand Caravan and get on with the comparison shot, shall we? Since this video isn't the series I mentioned earlier, I'm not really going to explain any of my procedures in this video. Instead, I'm mainly looking for you guys' attention outside of the cockpit. So in this first clip, pay close attention to the taxiway edge lighting and edge markings, as well as the threshold lighting on the end of the runway and markings. You can see the runway edge lighting is very highly detailed in this Orbx rendition of this airport that I mentioned before. I hope I pronounced that right. Just very highly detailed. The autogen there out the window looked very detailed and very dense. Here in the second clip, this is with just Orbx Global Base and the Trees HD add-on. We can see some very good looking scenery out the window. Since this is just those two packs, the airport isn't going to be as detailed. In fact, this is a Rex Texture Direct now controlled airport. I do have that add-on. But the scenery looks good, just not quite as good as the last clip. And on this is before any Orbx is installed. Again, Rex is still here. Rex Texture Direct is controlling the taxiways and runways at this point. This is default autogen there out the window. As I look left and right, we can see it's pretty much at random. I mean, houses and trees just scattered about at random, and things like that. So that's the kind of thing you get with default scenery. Let's go back to having all of the Orbx installed down to the airport here at Kenai Airport. While we do the takeoff, roll, and climb out, I'd like to use this opportunity to discuss some of the constants within this video. These constants are things that remain the same across all three comparisons. So I do not change the plane, and I try to keep the plane in the same configuration. I also do not change the graphics settings, the autogen, the draw distance, all that is maxed out. The weather is clear skies across all three comparisons, and I try to keep the flight plan and my in-flight route as close as I could in all three comparisons. There are quite a few variables to get it spot on, but it should definitely be close enough to get the idea for this video. Earlier in the video, I briefly mentioned Rex Texture Direct 4 with soft clouds. For sake of time and simplicity reasons, I'm not going to explain that add-on, but I will link their website in the description below if you want to check them out and if you're interested. Back to the comparison shots now. So in this first clip, we are back to having all of the Orbx installed into the simulator. This is down to the airport. One of the very first things you'll notice is the airport detail. This is the airport we just did the takeoff, roll, and climb out for. So it's extremely detailed, a very great rendition of this airport. We can also notice there out the window the strategic placement of the autogen rather than the random placement, and then that gorgeous looking little river or stream. In this clip has just Orbx Global Base and the Orbx Global Trees HD add-on. So right off the bat, we'll notice less detail in the airport. Since this is Orbx still, we still have the kind of strategically placed towns. In that regards, we can kind of see groups of buildings rather than randomly placed buildings. We also notice that there is no stream on the Global Base pack and the Trees HD pack with Orbx. That stream is actually done with Orbx's Global Vector add-on. So here we are with default prepared 3D scenery. We can see right off the bat that the autogen, the trees and the house are just placed at random. Because of the Rex Texture Direct add-on I mentioned earlier, the airport is probably going to look identical to the last clip, but that's because of Rex. Again, if you want to check them out, it's in the description. I would not like to dive into that particular add-on. As we look out the window here, we'll notice again that there is no stream. That is probably because that stream is not significant to anybody else but Orbix, but in the real world, I'll bet your ass it's there. And Orbix placed it there specifically, and how that stream curves and stuff is extremely close to real life there. Kind of see they kind of got a little waterway down there by default, but I'm also a little lower on this clip than in the previous two as well. So that was in the Orbix Global Base and Trees HD pack in the previous clip, but I was climbing in that one. So, all right, and we are back to having all of the Orbix installed here in southern Alaska. We are approaching, I believe it's pronounced Tustumena Lake. We can see a pretty beautiful landscape, and looking more to our left here out the window, we can see what appears to be a town with, in my opinion, some pretty strategically placed buildings. I mean, they look like they're right off of roads. Almost looks like a satellite image with auto gym placed on top of it. Just extremely detailed in every way possible, really. Water, outlines, the auto gym placement, just everything. Moving on to the second clip here. This is with just Orbix Global Base and the Trees HD add-on. We can see that the landscape has changed quite significantly. The area seems a little more bland. Here in a moment you'll see it's not as bland as default, but there isn't as much detail, and that takes me back to those layers I mentioned earlier. The more of these layers that you use through Orbix, the higher excuse me, your detail is going to be. So moving on to the third clip here, we have default scenery. I'm not sure there's much I can explain here. I will assure you that this clip was taken under the exact same conditions the previous two were. So this is the same time, so same month, day, year. It's we took off at 2 p.m. just like in the previous two clips. I would only make fun of this scenery here. I mean, it's pretty boring and barren. It almost gives me a desert vibe rather than an Alaskan vibe. Alright, back to having all of the Orbix installed here, so we're on the other side of that same lake. I'm not even going to try to say it again. I said it in the previous clips, and ooh, that was hard enough. We're making our right-hand turn here towards our airport. Again, this is with all the Orbix packs installed. We can see some pretty gorgeous landscape out there to our left there on the end of the lake. Just very good looking, very detailed once you get all of the Orbix installed and complete their suite. Here in this second clip, this is with Orbix Global Base and the Trees HD add-on. This is again more for like the average user, just kind of looking to give their scenery a small little overhaul. Still pretty good looking, especially when you compare it to the next clip. This is fantastic looking. Good, I have no complaints here. That looks decent. Good looking. Good looking. A little bland, but good looking. If you guys like the content that you've seen so far, please smash that thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. That support helps me out the most. Hit the little bell too to get notified about the new series. I briefly mentioned earlier that new series is going to feature A2A's Cessna 182. It's going to be great. I'm excited to do it. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about the first episode. Moving on to the third clip here, this is with default scenery. I think it goes without saying, We still look like we're in the desert, but the desert with a lake and a few trees. Just very bland, very plain with default scenery out here in Alaska. It's just not too much to look at. A couple lakes here and there, a few trees here and there. Other than that, that's it. That's it with the default scenery. Let me know in the comments section what you guys think of the comparison video so far. Really enjoy reading the feedback from you guys, so please make sure you leave a comment, thumbs up, subscribe. Be looking for that series that's coming up very soon. Very soon. Right. So I think we get the idea on the comparisons. So for the rest of this video, we're going to remain with all the Orbix installed scenery-wise. We're going to remain in the Grand Caravan and all that, but the rest of this video is going to be more along the lines of what my new series might represent. The bush plane in it series, although this is a larger aircraft than what will normally be used in that series, this is kind of how it's going to be set up, and the types of sceneries and things that we're going to be seeing within that series. So I intend to have each one of these bush plane in it series episodes right around the 30-minute mark, similar to like that of like a TV episode series. And because we're going to feature A2A's 182, and I intend on taking it across a lot of different terrain, and I intend on flying that airplane a lot. So because it's A2A, we're going to have to manage it. We're going to have to maintain it. During the first episode, we'll set it up, and you guys will understand what I mean by that when the first episode comes. So it's going to be really interesting, and I'm hoping to capture kind of the essence of flying a small plane, like what you could do with it hypothetically. And I intend on doing it on Flight Sim for less than what it would cost to actually do it in the real plane, and I hope it's really interesting for you guys, and I can't wait to upload the first episode. I was a little right on that landing, but it was a soft touchdown and we landed on the runway still. So you guys can judge that landing in the comments section. Basically, we're gonna pull off the runway here, make sure we're clear. We're gonna spool the engine down and raise the flaps, and then taxi in. So again, this is kind of just a crude example of what we're gonna see in that new series. I should have shut the landing lights down, turned the strobes off here as well, but I didn't because my main focus was on the comparisons of the scenery. When I did the reinstall of it, I saw it as the perfect opportunity to make this video, and then I thought at the end I'd give a small, tiny, crude example of what's to come. I also intend on explaining my procedures a little bit more in depth in this new series as well, especially given the fact that it is such a highly simulated aircraft, and being A2A. We pulled in right behind this Grand Caravan. We're going to shut the systems down. That includes the lights now. Get the aircraft all nice and cold and dark and all that good stuff, and that'll be the end of this episode. Again, if you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe to the channel. That support helps me out the most. Leave any feedback in the comments section below. Look for the Bush Plane in It series Episode 1 coming very soon, probably within a week. Thank you so much for watching.